everybody, it is the last day of reading before Christmas break. So we're going to go reread our story, Ranita the Frog Princess, one more time. And then we're going to take a short test on it and on our vocabulary words. So I'm going to launch my book. Now remember, sometimes your story might not be under the read section, okay? If it's not, which this one is, but I'm going to show you an alternate way to get there. If you go up here to resources and click on that, and then go over, here's our reading writing companion for unit 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. But if you go over here to where it says my books and click on it, our story in the hardcover book will be the first one that pops up. So it will take you to Ranita the Frog Princess. Now remember, this is actually you've got to type in your page number, so we're on 110. Now remember, this is a play, so it's meant to be acted out in front of a live audience. So plays are separated not by parts, but by scenes. Okay, so you've got scene 1, and it might be a different setting than scene 2. So if you remember going to the play at Bluefield College, the scene would change, okay? The curtains would close, and the characters and the cast members would change everything around really quickly, open back up the curtains, and you would have a different location or settings, okay? Now, the setting for this story is long ago in Mexico at the Viceroy's hunting lodge, okay? So in a forest. So here we've got Ranita, the Frog Princess. So we've got our setting and our players listed over here. We just talked about the setting, and then we've got all of the characters that are in this story. So not only is the genre of this drama, it's also a fairy tale. Now, fairy tales, we all have read fairy tales before. It's when there's magic, there's characters who can talk. So right now, who's the character that can talk? The animal that can talk. Ranita, the frog. So fairy tales often have animal characters who can talk. And there's magic. So we've got scene 1, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger for us. So scene 1. Now remember, the stage directions are the directions that the characters are supposed to follow. You do not read those. Okay, so this time I'm not going to read those that are in parentheses. I will read the first part. In a forest clearing, men are frantically searching the ground. From a nearby stone wall, Ranita watches but remains unnoticed. Keep looking. If we don't find that golden arrow, we'll be on tortillas and water for the next month. Well, have you found my golden arrow yet? Not yet, senor. It was a gift from my dear mother. Find it, or I will feed you to the jaguars, starting with my bumbling servant Pepe. It is his fault I missed my mark. Now, out of my sight, all of you. So all of the men are exiting hurriedly. So Felipe has lost his golden arrow because of his servant. He blames his servant, Pepe. I want my golden arrow back. You mean this golden arrow? My golden arrow! You found it! You're a frog? You were expecting a Mayan princess, perhaps. Well, I wasn't expecting a talking frog. Not my problem. I'm under a spell. I don't like to talk about it. Not my problem. Hand over the arrow. Looks like it's your problem now. No! What have you done, you foolish frog? If I am so foolish, how come I'm the one with the arrow, while you're the one standing there talking to a rana, a frog? I would squish you right now, but you are only a frog. You want that golden arrow? In exchange for what? A promise. Oh, is that all? A promise is a very serious thing. Yes, yes, of course, go on. So, what kind of character do you think Felipe is? Go back in the story so far and find your text evidence that shows what kind of character Felipe is. So we can tell right now that Felipe is unkind. So we can tell that by the way that he's talking to Ranita, because he's like, "You're a frog?" Okay, so he's not very kind and he's not very trustworthy, right? You can tell that because Ranita down here says a promise is a serious thing, and Felipe seems like he's just brushing it off, coughing. Yes, yes, go on. If I rescue your golden arrow, you must promise to let me eat from your plateau, sleep in your cama, and give me a beso when the sun comes up. Eat from my plate? Sleep in my bed? Kiss you? That is disgusting! No promise, no golden arrow. I promise. Espra, wait! I can't hop that fast. He's gone. Now I'll never break this evil spell. So you can see the picture here of Felipe talking to Ranita, and Felipe's fingers are crossed behind their back. Have you guys ever made a promise to someone when you cross your fingers? If you cross your fingers when you promise, there's a saying that it doesn't count. So Felipe is sitting there saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to promise this frog so I can get my golden arrow. Because he's thinking right now that she's just going to hand it over if he says that he promises, right? So Renita's not going to take Felipe, or Ranita is going to take Felipe seriously because she thinks that he is going to keep his promise. But we know, because this isn't our first time reading this story, that he's not going to keep his promise. It doesn't feel very good, does it? Please, no lectures today, old woman. My name is Visha Sabea. Sorry, wise old woman. You've already turned me into a frog. Isn't that enough? You wouldn't be a frog if you hadn't refused to give me a drink from this well so long ago. I was a selfish child then. I've paid for that, haven't I? I've learned what it's like to be alone and forgotten. Perhaps you have. Then you'll turn me into a girl again? No, but I will take you as far as the Viceroy's hunting lodge. You must make the leap from there. So the wise old woman is telling Ranita that she's got to make the leap from there. Now that's a figure of speech. She doesn't actually want Ranita to actually leap. She wants Ranita to go back out there again and try to get Felipe to obey her promise. So now we're in scene 2. So that's when the curtains would close and things behind the curtains would change a little bit. They would open and they would be in the hunting lodge with Viceroy, his wife, noblemen and women, all seated at a very long banquet table. Servants are scurrying in and out with bowls of food. Supa, senor? Si, where is Felipe? Dear boy, he is probably feeding the birds to the cat. I am famished. What a day I've had today. First, I lost my golden arrow. Then I met this ridiculous, demanding frog. You hop back here. Stop her right now. Ah, she's a slippery one. Ooh, wait, she bit me. Get her, Pepe. So Felipe knew what he was doing, right? Because it says here that he catches her, smiles, and then lets her go. Wonder why he would let her go. I don't know. So a commotion follows as the cooks and servants chase Ranita. So we know now that commotion means lots of noises, right? So you could definitely tell that there's a commotion going on right now. We can see that there's a drink that spilled, the turkey flew off the table, people's hats are off. They look very angry. This one right here, this is Pepe. He looks happy. So here we have all of them. We've got the viceroy here. They look surprised that Ranita's sitting at the table eating with them. Basta! Enough! Who is this creature? She's the little nasty frog who rescued my golden arrow. And in return, he promised to let me eat from his plateau, sleep in his cama, and give me a beso when the sun came up. Did you make this promise? I don't remember. Even if he did, he is the viceroy's son. See, and the viceroy's son keeps his promises. Pepe, set a place for our guest. But Father Ernesto, silencio, silence. Everyone, and I mean everyone, eat. Pepe, see? There's a fly in my soup. It's for the frog. Excellent. Eat up, Felipe. Arg. So we know now that Viceroy, Felipe's father, is very different from Felipe. So how are they different? Viceroy keeps his promises, whereas Felipe brushes them off like they mean nothing. So we can find text evidence by here when Viceroy says the Viceroy's son keeps his promises. So his father is trying to teach him a lesson, that it is very important to keep your promises. And we know now that Felipe, is he going to? So now we are in scene 3. So the curtains close, and when they open, they are in Felipe's bedroom. I refuse to sleep next to a frog. Pepe! See, senor, what took you so long? Hurry, tell my father I can't do this. Tell him I'll get warts. With any luck, you will get one on your oath-breaking tongue, boy. Father, you made a promise, Felipe. Help him keep his word, Pepe? So the viceroy here is telling Felipe that he's got to keep his promises and that maybe he'll get a wart on his oath-breaking tongue. So oath-breaking means that he's not keeping his promise. And then he says, help him keep his word, Pepe? So Pepe is going to spend the night in his bedroom to make sure that he sleeps with her all night long and he obeys his promise. Hasta manana. Until tomorrow. Sweet dreams, Felipe. I will dream of roasted frog legs. I'm telling, bug breath. Big baby. It's going to be a long night. Desperita, wake up. It's beso time. It wasn't a bad dream after all. Forget it, frog. I am not kissing you. You promised. I just had a better idea. Pepe! Senor, you are sworn to obey by me in all things. See? See, senor. So Felipe is going to ask him a question. He's going to make Pepe do something. Kiss the frog. So here we've got Felipe looking disgusted, whereas Pepe kisses Ranita. But who? Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Spanish Viceroy's rotten son, and I am the Mayan Emperor's lucky daughter. I have been enchanted for 200 years. You've been a frog for 200 years? What's so lucky about that? I'll tell you. As a princess, I could have ended up the wife of a spoiled brat like you. Instead, I find myself a prince. A prince of a husband, that is. So now, Renita and Pepe are going to probably get married. So here we've got them. They look happy as could be. And then on the next page, we've got Vija Sabia and then Felipe. And she looks like she's doing something with her fingers, casting a spell. So the epilogue. So this happened after everything else. And they're back at the same scene that they were in scene one. If they think I'm going to their ridiculous wedding, ha! May they have a dozen ugly tadpole children. Argo, water from the well, my son, before I die of thirst. I'm no water boy. I'm the viceroy's son. Get your own water, I found this you old. Sorry, you old cockroach. Cockroach. It's very rude to speak to your elders that way. Has no one taught you manners? No. Well, this is my specialty. Poof. And now you know how the frog prince ended up in that well. So there's an important lesson that the author wanted to teach you. That it is important to be kind and to help others. Otherwise, you might just get punished, like Felipe. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go back to our reading classroom, and you've got 2 Google Forms. So the first Google form will be a vocabulary test, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to type your name, read the sentence, and then answer the question, okay? So the sentence will have the vocabulary word in it. So like number 1, I was annoyed when my cats woke me up very early in the morning. What's a synonym for annoyed? And you're just going to type your answer. Okay, so there's only 8. And then after you complete that, you're going to complete the Renita, the Frog Princess comprehension questions, okay? And there's 10 of those. Now this one is multiple choice, okay? Now you can go back in your story and you can find the answers, okay? So after you complete those 2 things, you are finished for Christmas break, and I will talk to you guys on Monday, January 4th. We'll be virtual again, so you will have work to do virtually just like you did this week. Have a wonderful Christmas break, and I'll talk to you guys January 4th.